Labour MPs didn't vote to clear Starmer last night. They voted to stop the question being properly investigated. 223 voted yes, and crucially, 335 voted no. But it wasn't a free vote. Starmer three-line whipped his MPs into voting against the motion, i.e. basically letting him off the hook. Make no mistake, that is a sign of a man who is so slippery, so bent, so crooked, he can't bear scrutiny, let alone afford it. And remember, this is the same Labour Party that spent years screaming about standards, integrity, transparency, and then to save their own skin, decided that checking whether or not Starmer had misled Parliament is a Tory stunt. And why? Well, because this time it's about their leader. And wait until you hear what one of their own MPs said to the House. It's damning. But first, welcome back to Brit Rants. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on those notifications. So here's one of the clips I'm going to play you today. Last night's Commons division on whether Starmer gets referred to the Privileges Committee. Have a watch.
Thank you. The ayes to the right, 223. The noes to the left, 335. The noes have it, unlocked.
Ayes 223, noes 335. Whipping your MPs like this, forcing them to vote for you, is the desperate act of a desperate man. This doesn't clear him. All it proves is that Labour, A, has an authoritarian dictator leading its party, and B, that Labour have the numbers to make the question disappear. And there's a big difference. This does not prove for one moment that Labour MPs support Keir Starmer. 15 voted against him. And that is a lot when you've got a three-line whip. Not only that, I think it was about 50 or so abstained. Some of them were, you could say euphemistically, door-knocking. Others abstain because they don't believe a fucking thing he says. It's simple as that. So let's look at the fact then. Fact number one. So the Privileges Committee exists for one reason and one reason only. Basically, when a serious question is raised about whether an MP, including a Prime Minister, has actually misled the House intentionally or unintentionally, that is what it's there for.
Whether any Prime Minister misled the House or not is not a matter for the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, nor is it a matter for the Intelligence and Security Committee. It is a matter for privileges. That's why such a committee exists.
We've seen it used before. The latest example, Boris Johnson Partygate. The difference here, though, is that the Tories had a free vote. I would argue that that is because it's only the left that has a problem with democracy. I mean, let's face it, Labour have tried to cancel local elections. Labour doesn't like democracy. Labour doesn't like scrutiny. So when the question applies to their leader, they're whipped to within an inch of their life. Because if there was nothing to seriously hide, why force them to vote the motion down? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. And Labour MPs can spin about this as much as they want. Oh, you know, we want to get on with what people on the doorstep are really talking about. Well, as far as I can see, the people on the doorstep are really talking about this and the fact that this is the most corrupt government in living memory. Now, here's where it gets super damaging, because Emma Lewell, MP for South Shields, all the way up there in the northeast, had the balls to stand up in the chamber and speak against the whip. Have a watch.
Privilege motions, ISC investigations, committee hearings and process don't come up on the doorstep. What does come up time and time again is a general feeling that there is something just not right, that politicians are failing to deliver on their promises. Trust has gone and it's been replaced by anger, and the already fragile fabric of our democracy is eroding further every day this continues. I can't understand, Mr Speaker, why the Prime Minister doesn't refer himself to the committee with a clear statement that he is doing so to clear his name. One quick session of the committee could surely see this matter concluded. Instead, it will now drag on and dominate every headline and interview. It will overshadow and undermine every good policy we make and continue to drag every single one of us down. Whether any Prime Minister misled the House or not is not a matter for the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, nor is it a matter for the Intelligence and Security Committee. It is a matter for privileges. That's why such a committee exists. It may be that opposition parties are using this motion today to box Labour MPs in, but I'm not angry about that. That's politics. Some of us here would do the same. But I know one thing for certain today, Mr Speaker, that I will not be voting against this motion, but I want to listen carefully to the rest of this debate, because like everyone, when I came to this House, I wanted to do the right thing, and I hope I continue to do that for however long I have left in this place.
Let down, disappointed, angry. Her words, not mine. Whipping MPs against the motion was wrong because it played into the narrative that there is something to hide. Well, Emma, that's probably because there is something to hide. Quite a lot, actually. She said it plain and simple. This belongs with the Privilege Committee. That is why the committee exists. Now, fact number 2. Now, here is the fresh evidence, and this is a bit Labour are terrified of. Sir Philip Barton, former top Foreign Office official, gave evidence to the Foreign Affairs Committee on Tuesday. His exact words, absolutely. There was pressure from Downing Street to move quickly on Mandelson. The normal order is vetting first, then the announcement. But with Mandelson, the announcement came before the vetting. And Barton confirmed Number 10 seemed, quote, uninterested in the vetting process. Uninterested in vetting the man being sent to Washington, a man who needed access to the deepest secrets of the British state. So here are the questions Parliament should be asking. Who pushed the announcement before the vetting was done? Who decided speed mattered more than process? And why did Starmer tell Parliament that full due process had been followed? Because if due process is vetting first and announcement second, and they did it the other way round, what exactly does full due process mean? And finally, fact number 3. And this is why Labour are so desperate to frame this as one isolated incident. Because it isn't isolated. This government arrived in power promising integrity, promising to clean up politics. Apparently the adults were back in the room. And what have we had in less than 2 fucking years? We've had Lord Ali, donor gifts, clothes, glasses, accommodation, Starmer, Rayner, Reeves, all involved. We've had Louise Hay. She resigned after a fraud by false representation conviction came out. Tulip Sadiq resigned over property links to her aunt's regime in Bangladesh. Mike Amesbury, he was sentenced after battering a man in the street, to name but a few guys, right? And now we have the cover-up of all cover-ups, a vote to stop Starmer being investigated. When Labour were in opposition, scrutiny was sacred. But when Labour are in government, scrutiny is optional. Look, at the end of the day, Starmer is exposed and he is evasive. Slippery, dishonest, bent as an eyeball bit. And Labour is now looking grubby and frankly frit. Every Labour MP who voted to block that inquiry has now attached themselves to Starmer's grotesque Mandelson mess. They're all complicit in the cover-up, and on May the 7th, it will come back to bite them on the arse. As always, no BS, just the facts. That's it for this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on those notifications. See ya.